one of our members in our community, Mike, who was recently having a bit of a difficult time going through some big hurdles. He was trying to get his advertising set up correctly, but he hit a couple of roadblocks, and there were, sometimes these systems don't talk to each other properly, and you could tell he was getting quite frustrated. He posted in our group, and I think that if it hadn't been for the emotional support of a community like ours that he's a member of, he would have probably remained stuck there, certainly for a lot longer than he did. Firstly, one of the things is that people will try to start a business without any support. So oftentimes I think that's because people think that it's the easiest option to just jump in. And I'm actually guilty of this as well, because I often am quite hands-on and tactical. I like to just get in and actually do something to try to figure it out. But there's a difference between working hard and working smart, right? If you're just running in the hamster wheel and you're making all of these expensive mistakes that are costing you in opportunity cost because you're making life so much harder than it needs to be because you're trying to figure these things out on your own, those mistakes will cost you a lot of time and ultimately a lot of money. It's a bit like if you were trying to build your own house, you'll probably consult with an architect and a surveyor, and get the plans drawn up. You'll then bring in the builder, you'll speak with an electrician, a plumber, make sure the pipes are in the right place, the wiring's all done correctly. You still oversee the whole process of what's happening, this thing that you're building, but you're taking expert advice in all of those critical junctions. Every time you have a decision to make, you don't just think, okay, I'm going to go and, spend the next 6 months studying to be an electrician so I know how to wire that. Like, you just go straight to the electrician, right? You skip the queue, you skip the wait, and you skip the months of waiting and learning and trying to figure these things out, because these people who are specialists in their trades have done these things hundreds of times in the past. And it's exactly the same with dropshipping, right? You rather than try to piece this all together, save the years of failure and just jump straight to the front of the queue and know that you can get up and running with a proven path. But this time it's not the surveyor and the architect and the builder and the plumber that you need, right? It's the experts who can guide you through certain parts of building your business, people who have done these things hundreds of times before. So, it's like niche selection. Which products do you sell? Or market research. Is a market too competitive? Is the pricing correct? Website design, how to optimize your website for suppliers and also customers once you start getting traffic to your site. Marketing strategies, paid ads, building your systems, making things work behind the scenes. All of these things are like specialty skill sets that, you could go and try and spend the months trying to figure them out, or you just go and leverage something that already exists that can guide you through how to do it. So yeah, these things that would otherwise take years for you to learn on your own, you can really just shortcut that route to success by learning from the people who do these things day in, day out. So I think that's the first mistake people make, trying to do it without leveraging that existing support that's there.
Absolutely. And I'm completely guilty of this mistake, this failure myself. When I first got into online business and I decided that I wanted to make money online with just a laptop, I tried to go out and do these things on my own without any support, without even consulting anyone, any friends or family or anyone. I just decided that I was going to make money online and I didn't need anyone else around me to do that. And obviously for me, it's quite clear that was always going to end up in failure because I wasn't around anyone that had achieved the success that I was going for. Now, conscious, we don't want this to sound like a pitch for Dropship Unlocked community, which there is now. But as soon as I did enter a community that were all aiming towards the same success and people were in there that had already achieved that success, it just made the world of difference to be able to know what to do next and get support from people around me that were all going for the same goals. So a huge one, definitely, and so important to be around the people that you want to emulate their success. So as well as being around them for emotional reasons, also they can give you the tactical support that you need as well. So actually, what do you need to do next? What do you need to click next on your laptop to get to the next stage in your business? So again, would you sort of agree with that, Lewis, in terms of being around people that can give you some real tactical support?
Yeah, it's one thing being around people who can kind of like talk to you about big picture and like, hey, this would be the right strategy to use. But then it comes down to actually using these platforms, these interfaces, the ad systems, the networks, the building your site on a platform like Shopify, for example. All of these kind of specific examples and things that you need to be able to look over someone's shoulder and just figure out like, okay, which button do I press? Which option did they choose at this junction? Because there are so many hundreds of decisions you have to make, and any one of those that you get wrong early on can cause big problems later on. So similar to a situation the other night, I thought this is kind of like as you're building a business. Like we use these, things like Gusto and HelloFresh, where they'll deliver the ingredients to your house once a week in a box, and it like allows you to cook with fresh ingredients. You have all the ingredients there at in the box ready to go. So you never have to like go and find these like random ingredients you need for occasional recipes. And I was cooking dinner, and they usually send these recipe cards with them, which like guide you through step by step how to cook the meal. So it's like, okay, cut the potatoes up, like heat oil in the pan, put the chicken in, like all of this stuff. But I'd lost the card, or it just didn't arrive in the box. So I was like, okay, well, I could, I was looking at the ingredients, and there was all kinds of stuff there, like, things that I just wouldn't have known what order to do things in. And I could have probably just like mushed them all together, put them in the pan and figured it out in the end. But it likely wouldn't have been the most efficient path, and it definitely wouldn't have been the most well presented and tasty meal afterwards, right? But I looked online at the website, found the digital version of it, had my phone there, and just followed the instructions step by step. So yes, I could have put all these same ingredients together, and it's like that with building business. If you could probably try and figure each of these individual actions out through YouTube tutorials that would come from different sources that might be out of context, but it's frustrating, it's time consuming, and oftentimes you still won't get the same result anyway. So it's like, get the recipe card, get the tactics so that you can follow the steps. And in 15 to 20 minutes, I had a great meal prepared. And, the same is true of business. It's the sequence of steps that matter to get you to that end result. And it's very true as well with business, even more so than cooking a meal.
Absolutely. Yeah, such a good point. I think with online business, what we're all looking for is to click the right buttons in the right sequence. So eventually we've got an online business that's generating an online income stream for us every month and gives us the freedom that we're looking for. So instead of trying to work out that correct combination yourself, why not follow the same combination that somebody else has followed and already achieved the goals that you're going for? And really having that tactical support is huge when it's a real question that's in depth that you need to answer for yourself to be able to move on. As well as the tactical support, there's definitely something to be said about the emotional support that being around a team can have as well. So would you say that's as important as tactical support, or even more important potentially?
Yeah, the emotional and psychological mindset support of being in a community of people who are trying to strive for the goals that you're aiming for, or who have already achieved some of the goals that you may have thought were in your future, that can be so important. One of our members in our community, Mike, who was recently having a bit of a difficult time going through some big hurdles. He was trying to get his advertising set up correctly, but he hit a couple of roadblocks, and there were, sometimes these systems don't talk to each other properly, and you could tell he was getting quite frustrated. He posted in our group, and I think if it hadn't been for the emotional support of a community like ours that he's a member of, he would have probably remained stuck there, certainly for a lot longer than he did. But what was nice to see was our communities kind of rising up around him and raising him up and saying, look, we can show you how to get through this. We had the same thing happen. Here's how I did it. Someone will post a link to like the right video in the program that shows them the way that we figured it out and teach it. And so everyone's kind of there cheering him on. And a couple of weeks later, what was really nice, he posted his screenshot in the members group, and it was his first sale of £4,200. So it was like, so great to see that emotional support had carried him through not only the initial challenges, but getting to the point where he was up, running, profitable, making sales with his advertising working correctly. And it's a little bit like, when a football team are kind of playing and they say afterwards, the crowd were really like our 12th man tonight, or 12th player on the pitch. And it's that rising community around the team that are so supportive, and they can hear them. Like, do you think that the players don't get mentally affected by that? Of course, there's a psychological advantage if your fans are cheering for you to try and raise you up, and that often will help a team win a game that they may have otherwise been struggling with. So yeah, huge benefit to that emotional support.
Absolutely. Great to hear about the story from Mike. It's so rewarding when people are able to get past something that they previously didn't think was possible because of the support they have around them. And it also reminds me of a one-to-one support session I did yesterday with one of our Dropship Unlock members, Will. And he was having a specific tactical issue where he couldn't find the brand names for the people he wants to sign with. And so what he needed was obviously the tactical support that I was able to provide in terms of this is how you can go about finding your suppliers' names and the contact information to get in touch with them. But also I know that if he leverages the Facebook group that we've got, the community that we've got, he can also get around people that have had the exact same issue and not just get their tactical support, but also the emotional support, just to say that I've been through this exact same thing. Now I'm through it, and let me help you, and we'll get through this. In a few days' time, you'll have done the same thing as what I've done. So something so important, and it's not just needing the Dropship Unlock community. So it's not just a pitch. Make sure just having some support around you, some community around you is so important. What I found is that when going for an online business, it wasn't enough just to have family and friends around me, because they might not actually be aware of the difficult challenges that you're having with growing a business. So being around people that are like-minded to you and going for the same goals, that's really where you get the most level of reward back from people that are around you and helping you out to get through to achieve your goals.